Hello and welcome to the Passion to Profit podcast. We have our special guest this week. So introducing Tyrell. And actually, you know what? Introduce yourself. What's your tagline? How are you coming on the show?
Oh, family tree. Listen, thank you for having me on the show. My name's Tyrell. I'm 23 years old and I'm from Nottingham.
That was like a game show.
Like a game show, you know what I mean? But no, yeah, that's me.
Okay, so that's all you are. You're just Tyrell from Nottingham. What do you do? What do you class yourself as?
I'd class myself as an entrepreneur, you know. I'd say I've got many different businesses, many different startups as well. We've had a little bit of success and yeah, it's been a good time.
Okay, cool. So this Passion to Profit podcast is all about speaking to people that have discovered their passion and been able to create their dream life from that. So let's go back in time. When do you think you discovered your first passion? It may not be a passion that you've still got now, but when was the first time that you think that you felt, actually, I'm really passionate about this thing?
I'd say in school, you know. Okay. No, you might not even know this, but you know, when I was in school, my mum used to give me like £2. Yeah, you already know what that's for. One's for the bus there, one's for the bus back. Okay. But I was a little bit greedy, you know. I'm a hungry guy. I want to have my fish and chips. I want to go to the chip shop and enjoy that. You know what I mean? But that's pricey. So what I used to do is I used to go to cash and carry. I used to get a big tub of tomato sauce, and then I used to go to school, and then Jamie Oliver came in, made a perfect market because he got rid of tomato sauce, didn't he? On all the breakfast.
No way.
So guess who was selling tomato sauce? 20p a squirt to all the teachers. And yeah, I'd say that was my first passion. You know, I enjoyed it just because it was free money, you know what I mean?
I can't believe that. I thought you were going to say, I went to the shop, I went to the cash and carry and brought some sweets. Because there's so many people that bought sweets, but you went the opposite way around. You thought outside the box. Yeah,
because I tried that and the teacher came up and almost like kicked me out.
So that didn't work?
Yeah, she was like, carry on doing that. And I'll be speaking to your mum. And I was like, okay, let's switch it up. Tomato sauce. And then guess what she said the next time? Can I have some tomato sauce?
Oh, so then she turned into a customer. She flipped into a customer. Yeah. I love that. So taking that then, you've always had an entrepreneurial spirit. You've always been someone that wants to be involved in business. And straight away, that's a sales skill, right? Yeah.
It's a skill. And I suppose you approach things differently. You know, at that age, my motivations weren't money. I just wanted to get some fish and chips. You know what I mean? Yeah. So eventually it changes and you learn more skills. Well, yeah.
Okay, so starting off from, say, maybe like 12, 13, you've had this idea of starting, you know, to sell ketchup, basically, in school. So then what was the next idea after that, or what was the most significant thing that you can remember then turned into another passion?
So I didn't really do much business, per se, after that. You already know I was playing, well, for those of you guys that didn't know, I was playing rugby for a long time, big into sports, you know. So I'd play rugby, I'd go judo, I'd do karate, MMA sometimes when I was a kid. And my sports was really the focus. So I didn't really do much in terms of business for a while until I went to college. And then at college, one of my teachers gave me a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad. And he was like, you'd like this, gave me the book. And me and one of my friends at the time, who we actually ended up going to the same uni later on, me and him decided to start some like different businesses and see what we could do. I went and did candy carts. So I took the quadrant. I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I was like, right, I need to start working for myself. Because if you're self-employed, it's more freedom. And that kind of fits my niche. So I was like, I'm going to do that. And my mum was like, one of my friends selling a candy cart or whatever. Got the candy cart, got some paint, went to my Uncle Merv's, painted this candy cart at Merv's place. He said I could leave it there, left my candy cart there. And then I'd rent it out to weddings and birthdays. And I ended up going back to my old school, my secondary school. And they employed me every single year to go there and do a candy cart. So I was like...
Amazing.
Yeah, it's good.
Amazing. That's such a good story. So let's go back to the sports then. Because having a passion for something like sport also brings a lot of transferable skills. One thing that's jumping out to me instantly is discipline.
Yeah.
So do you think that the discipline that you learn, especially with something like rugby, it's a tough sport. Do you think you've used that discipline forward into your businesses?
100%. I'm absolutely adamant one of the theories that I've got when I coach or when somebody asks me about business, so they want to start making money. Anybody that says that that's at the gym, or anybody that says that that's an athlete, I'm like, you've already got everything you need.
Yeah.
Because all you need is discipline and consistency. If you can be disciplined enough to stick to something even when you don't want to do it, and you can be consistent enough to carry on doing it, that's all you need. Because it doesn't matter whether you're selling food stamps or whether you're selling a service online. All it's about is being disciplined enough to carry on doing it when you don't want to do it, and just turn up. And consistency, and you'll do it.
And that was one of my questions. So you're a human, you have good days, you have bad days. How do you get motivation on the bad days? Because for me, I'm a person that I think a lot with emotion rather than logic. And I think, I don't know, maybe a little bit to do with being a female. But there are some days where I'm like, oh, I really can't be bothered to do that thing. And in the past, you know, sometimes that feeling inside of you takes over and you don't do anything. So what's your method to keep yourself motivated on those days?
Well, I would say it comes from when I was younger and I didn't used to want to go to the gym. I used to hate going to the gym. My dad used to drag me there. I just used to want to play computer. So if he came up to me and he was like, Tyrell, we're going to the gym, I'd just start crying. I'd be like, I'm not going, crying. I'm like, I just want to play Call of Duty with my friends online at 12 o'clock. Why do we have to go to the gym? And once I got there, you know, I'd get it out of the way and enjoy it. And after I'd feel all right. Even to this day, I go gym at 10 o'clock. I complain all the way there. I don't even know how I got there.
Autopilot, just going.
No, I'll wake up and I'll be like, oh, I'm aching. You know, I'll be like, oh, my elbow hurts. Like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, my leg hurts. Like, well, I don't want to go today. And these are like injuries. Like, one time, I've got a dislocated elbow. Some guy literally dislocated my elbow, cracked everything, right? And you shouldn't really be going to the gym, but I'll be like, right, let me just go and turn up. And I'll just turn up there, make sure I'm on time and just see how it goes. And eventually I'll end up training. The same thing when I go to work. I don't particularly enjoy working. Complain all the time because there's always little things. I enjoy what comes from my business and I'm passionate about my business, but passion isn't going to do it every single day. You have to understand like the journey. You know that you're on the right path. You know that you're doing the right thing, but there's going to be good days and there's going to be bad days on that path. You know, I suppose that you have to be passionate enough to pick something that you're interested in, to know that that's your purpose. And then when it comes towards working every single day, I mean, it's a Sunday. There's better things that we could be doing today. Yeah. You know what I mean? But we're still here and still getting the job done. And I think that's what it's about. It's about showing up. Just showing up. Showing up. Even on the days that you don't want to show up, are they the days that you need to show up even more? Yeah. They're the extra days, aren't they? That you have to think, you know what, I really can't be bothered today. But if I show up today, then it's going to be easier to show up tomorrow when I want to. And that's what builds your character, because when you're turning up and you're making there's always a good side and a bad side. There's always a voice that wants to quit. But once you just go on autopilot and that voice can keep talking, but you're there doing it. Like, for example, when I'm in the gym, one voice is saying, right, fuck it, let's just walk away now. Let's just go get some food, because you don't have to be there. But then when you finish your day, you like feel proud. You know what I mean? You silence that voice. And that's what I think it's all about. Yeah, definitely. And there's always that inner dialogue, and it's the ego. It's, there's a book called The Chimp Paradox, and he calls it the chimp. But whatever this voice is described as, that is always going to be there. So it is about beating that down. Yeah, Christians will call it the devil. Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Very true. Very true. And so you spoke about, you started off with the ketchup, and I still can't believe that. I love that. I never knew that. And then we've gone on to candy carts. Your passions right now that you've turned into a profit, what are they and when did they begin? It's interesting because my passion is business. Okay. I've realized now that, my purpose and my passion align, and it's both just business. Initially, ideas I have and businesses that I start, some might be successful, some might be fairly unsuccessful. I know that I'm following my passion, right? So then I know I'm okay. Sometimes businesses that you start, they don't necessarily succeed, and I'm okay with that. Some of the businesses that I started off over the years, like a candy cart business. I didn't start the candy cart business because I wanted to run the candy cart world. I started the business as a vehicle, because I wanted to be able to pay for my car and put petrol in my car. So these are the reasons why I create a lot of businesses. And over time, some of them become a success and then it scales. Right now I run about 5 different companies. I run Guarantee Clients. Guarantee Clients helps you find a freelancing avenue where you can go and become a freelancer and then you can invest the profits. And we guarantee you that will 2 times your investment.
Okay.
We've also got Interstellar Ventures. That's where you can invest your money and you can invest in crypto private sales. And we're a syndicate, so different people, they will put their money together and then they get the ability to invest into private sales. And these might do 100x, 1000x, or you might not even make your money back, So it's different avenues with that. And I'd say because I've stayed consistent and I've failed and I've failed and failed in so many businesses, a lot of times you find gems in different avenues that you wouldn't even expect. So there's some people with private jets and shit like that literally got there from selling like food and tacos. It's crazy businesses. And I tell you what, these guys, they might not want to sit there and talk about tacos every single day, but they do. And they're in a private jet for it. I'm sure they feel better about it once they're in a private jet. You know what I mean?
No, exactly. There's so many gems that I want to take away from that. There was so many key words that were coming out at me. But the first one that I wanted to go back to was your passion is for business. How do you think that you found that as a passion? How did you know you was passionate about it? Was it a feeling? Was it what it brought to you? What was it for you to understand, actually, I'm really passionate about this?
You know what's crazy is I've got, not many people know this, but I've got like a very, very good memory. I remember things on emotion. So if I remember something, I'll remember it forever. But if I don't want to remember about it, I'll generally forget about it. Like I'll generally it's gone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And one of the key moments that I remember was being on the bus and I'm there, I've got my bag. And in this bag, I carry all my stuff for the day. So that's like 4 or 5 different outfits. You know what I mean? I've got my rugby kit, I've got my MMA gear, I've got my boxing gloves. Everything's there, right, in this bag. I carry it every day to school, right? Proper like athlete vibes. Nothing's even going through my brain about business. And one time I was talking to one of my friends. Her name was Esther. She was like, Tyrell, she said, you're going to be a very good businessman. And I was like, what? Like, no reason. She's just like, you're going to be a very good businessman. And I feel like little things like that have happened a lot throughout my life. And those things have has showed me that, this is my passion. I feel like naturally I've always been drawn towards, I've always been very lucky because I've followed YouTube a lot. And I'm not the type of person to look at these guys on YouTube and come up with excuses. I'll look at these guys on YouTube and think, what are they doing? How are they making money? Because I'm going to just copy off of it. So I'd see those people, I'd listen to what they say, and that kind of would push me onto this path to know that this is, what I'm passionate about. And naturally being on this journey, I'll help people, I'll do good things. And if you go through the whole of history, you go through religion, you go through like ancient history, you go through science to understand about energy and stuff like that. As long as I'm producing, I'm doing good for the world. I'm doing good things. So I know that if I stick to business, I'll forever be okay. I'll go to heaven. You know what I mean? I'll transcend. I'll come back to life as whatever animal, because I know that this is my purpose. I'm living my purpose.
I like that. I also like the fact that you said that you would, 2 things. You would look at YouTube and you would see people and not make excuses. You would take that as motivation. And another thing that you said was that you would copy it and think, how can I do this? Now, there is literally no such thing as an original idea, right? Every idea has to come from something or somewhere. And I think people get worried about copying people's businesses. But in actual fact, say, for example, you watch that and you feel inside of you that resonates with you on a deeper level, not just because, people sometimes think, I want to be a business person because I want this, rather than the process and thinking, actually, I really enjoy the process of this. I would like to get there.
Exactly.
But I want to enjoy the process. I want to enjoy the process of going through this thing. So whether it's you're a business person or even if you're a yoga teacher, It's like, you know what? Even without the money, I enjoy doing this. And I think that there is what I define as passion. It's something where you know, it's that thing, isn't it? It's that same old quote where it's like, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Yeah, your purpose.
And that is exactly where you want to be. So one of the key things that I took from what you said before, and it's a big word for me, the whole of 2023, this word is sticking with me. It's coming back to haunt me, and it's because it's so crucial, and it's consistency. That is something that I have personally struggled with, and it is the reason that some of the businesses that I've started in the past have failed, because I wasn't consistent with it. So how do you keep up consistency?
So I like with consistency as well, as an entrepreneur. So I get so many ideas.
Yes.
And these ideas, they all make money. That's the best thing about it, because I understand through experience, my first ideas, they wouldn't make money. Then I'd learn those mistakes and my new ideas will make money. Once you get to the point where all your ideas make money, it's about understanding which ones are going to make the most, right? So, for instance, I could start a business, and this is a great business idea for anybody. I could open a calendar and take on consultation calls and charge dirt cheap, £20 a session, and solve a problem, for example. In my industry, I might be solving problems such as how to get clients for your agency. I might solve problems for e-commerce and how to solve problems for e-commerce. That's just my experience and me being able to solve them problems. As a yoga teacher, if I knew yoga, I could open a calendar and talk about yoga. I could even coach yoga teachers on getting more sales or how to start a yoga business, right? But then I have to think about, where am I putting my energy and what's getting the most return, right? So I always put it down to my routine, and I learned this from like different books. So all I base things on now is a routine. So I have a routine. It will be 8 to 12 hours a day. There's always the basic things in there: food and sleep and working out and stretching and meditating. Just basic things that you have to do. In between those times, I'll have months. So right now, I'm doing 2 to 3 months of just sales calls, because that gets the money in. So that's all I'm focused on. I've got so many gaps in my business right now, but all that matters is that I take calls and close people. For guaranteed clients, we've already sold $10,000 of applications, £6,000, right? We're charging £600, and we've sold 10 places. That's $8,000 to $10,000, right? That there is just money in the bank. I don't need a website. I don't need anything. I'm just taking calls in a calendar. So I have to do that. And during this time, I won't work on any other businesses.
Okay.
You know? So there'll be different times and different things. For example, content, for example, we've got this time. Just before I do a sales call in about 10, 20 minutes, I've got content going through. So I'll kind of batch these things out and I'll put them into like categories, and then I'll just put those categories into my routine. Because if I didn't, I'll just be like a spinning, like out of control, right?
Yeah.
I'll be trying to start this startup over here, that startup over here, and that startup over here. But I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't get this thing moving, then that thing moving, then that thing moving. And then it kind of scales up from there.
Yeah. And I think the routine is really important, because for me, I am a person where, so I like to do 2 things at once. So when I feel like I'm, I don't know what you'd even call it, right? But basically, when I left my job in 2019, I started DJing, but I also was doing freelance social media. So for me, I have to work on 2 things at once. And I feel for me, and there might be other people out there, I do find it hard to concentrate on just one thing.
Yeah.
So I kind of have 2 things that are working side by side, and I kind of distract myself from one to the other, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
However, there are times where I'll push this one forward, and then I'll take a break from that because that's got to a certain level. Then I'll push this one forward. But having a routine allows you to be able to understand what it is that you're focusing on and what time you dedicate to that. So, you might do, for me, it was like, obviously I was DJing in the evening. So I know on a Friday from 6 o'clock or, from 5 o'clock is dedicated to DJ time. So then Friday daytime, I'm like, okay, cool. So I wake up, I go to the gym, I do this. I spend 4 hours doing this, and then that stops. And having that allotted time and not going over that time and trying to blend them 2 together.
Yeah, there's a great saying from Atomic Habits, and it goes, a man doesn't rise to his successes, he falls to his routines, right? So
I like that.
You might have big aspirations that you want to achieve, and you will be able to achieve them, but you shouldn't be looking to rise to them successes, right? You should just fall to your routine. So you just look at, okay, if I want to grow a YouTube channel, then I need to do one video a week. So now I'm not worried about how many subscribers I've got or how many views I've got. I'm just worried about, have I done one video a week, right? And a lot of times people get this confused because, for example, when I used to be looking to grow my agency, that's not getting the money in right now because I'm not good at sales calls.
Okay.
You know, so at this time I'm not good at sales calls. I'm not converting. I'm just doing calls and it's not working. And I still need to send 10 proposals per day, but that's not paying the rent. You know, so
yeah.
A lot of times people get confused, and a lot of my students get confused as well because they know that if they send 10 proposals over how long they're going to make money. So they're already thinking that money's in the bank, but it's not, right? And what if it doesn't come in the bank? So you're going to quit your job now and think that you're going to do 10 sales calls and it's all going to work out. Something's missing. Mm-hmm. So you have to have those times in your calendar, focus on how much money am I making today, right? So things like the DJ, you need to have DJing in your calendar because those £80 cash in hands, £100 cash in hands, £200 cash in hands, that's what you need to keep going. But you know that if you just did that, it might not align with your future self. Mm-hmm. So you have to use things for a process and use them to get you to where you want to go. So you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to continue to do the DJing because the DJ is going to make me £1,000, £2,000 a month. That pays for me to be able to send my 10 proposals. Maybe I take the £1,000 I invested, I send 20 proposals, meaning it's going to take me half the time to get to where I want to go. And if you wasn't doing that, if you just think that, okay, I'm going to quit this, quit that, and focus all on this, it actually does worse for you.
Yeah.
It pulls you away from your goals because you haven't got no money to do anything.
Definitely.
Know? Some people think that they can, get to a success with no money, but sometimes it actually makes it harder for you. I ended up picking up 2 jobs. I was doing delivery driving. So I was doing a 9 to 5 at the university. That would just be answering the phone calls, getting people to apply for the new semester. And then after the 9 to 5, instead of going back and chilling and thinking I've done a great day's work, I'd then do a 6 to 1. So I'd go and I'd just deliver food. Mm-hmm. I'd only make £40 from that. But that there gave me the ability to get £100 from the university a day, and then I'd also get £40 a day from my delivery drive. Yeah, I'd have to spend 20 quid on petrol, but that's an extra £20 that I've got, plus tips, might get £5 per tips. So now I'm making £120 per day. So I'm making an extra 20% on my day for an extra little bit of work, which means I can invest more into proposals. So you have to kind of go through that thought process without letting your other brain come up with excuses along that process. Because I could have said to myself like, oh, why am I only working for £20 for 4 hours when I can go work here?
And that's the battle sometimes, isn't it? It's about weighing up those pros and cons of everything, but also not just weighing up the pros and cons, but is this aligning with what I need to do? Is this aligning with the decisions that I'm making? And one of the things that I'm trying this year is to, every decision that I'm making is this aligning with my future self? Should I do this or should I do that? Now, we're humans and not every decision is going to be able to run through that process because sometimes you are just going to think, actually, you know what? I'm having a night off. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. However, I've kind of worked out that if you do 90% of your decisions aligned as your future self, 1, you're making better decisions, and 2, you're seeing things as a process. It's part of the process. So, when I first quit my job in 2019 and became a DJ, I flew to Ibiza, thought I was going to be this big DJ, and that didn't work out. So when I came back to England, I literally had nothing. I had no money, literally moving back to my mum's. And then, so I had to go get a job. I had to go get a job in a call centre. Luckily, I was still aligned with what I wanted. And the way that I was manifesting, I was only actually in that job within 4 weeks before I got signed to an agency. And then, life kind of moved on from there. But at the time, I saw that as a failure. I was going back. In actual facts, I needed the money. You have to have an income.
Exactly.
So whenever, there's been people, even celebrities that have been up and drop back down and then get back up again. But what's the most important is knowing that you've got this base, there's a hierarchy of needs. And one of them is it's got to be your money, right? You've got to have this income. You need to live. And you have to live kind of like comfortably as well. You don't want to be stressed out. Mm-hmm. And when you realize that, and you realize, actually, you know, yeah, I was earning £300 a week, right? As soon as I left that job, I was DJing for £300 a day on a Saturday. So I've gone from 9 to 5, Monday to Friday, to this Saturday, but I had to go through the process.
Exactly. And a lot of people would look at that and say, oh, well, why would you go from, you know, this job or go to this job? Or they'll just instantly, as soon as you say DJ, they'll discount their brain will just switch off, because most people watching this might be just switched off because they're like, I don't want to be a DJ.
Yeah.
That's not the point.
Yeah.
The point isn't you want to be this. What we're saying is, and exactly what you're saying is that when you want to get to somewhere, you have to be willing to make sacrifices in the short term, you know?
Definitely.
You might have to be a binman. I want to be a binman. But that's not the point. You think most binmen want to be binmen. No. Right? They just want to be able to live a stable life and do whatever, and that job keeps them living that way. So you have to switch your mindset. You might want to be an entrepreneur, but you might have to go and be a plumber for a little bit. You know, these are the type of things. And
sometimes as well, with these jobs, I hated that job so much that it propelled me. I was like, right, okay, listen, I am doing this, I'm doing that. When I'm finishing this job, I'm making sure that I'm doing something towards this dream job that I want to do. So obviously, like I said, mine's DJ, yours could be fashion designer, it could be whatever. But when you're in this job that you actually don't like, it propels me to be more motivated, because I'm thinking, I'm not staying here. I've got to do something. I'm not staying here, you know. Anyway, I want to move forward, and I want to talk a little bit more about you and some of your successes and the things that you've been through. So you started off at university with your social media agency, and within actually a quite short space of time, you've propelled forward to these other business ventures. So briefly take us through the process of how you went from there to there.
100%. Look, I've got a meeting, but I'm going to push you about 5 minutes to break this down, right? So it's a tip of the iceberg thing, because when I first hit my first 10K per month.
When was this?
This was in 2018, about 2018, 2019, right? I was just finishing university. And I did a YouTube interview with one of my, like, the person that inspired me. Like, I brought his course, and now he's messaging me like, yo, come on the interview. I had a call with him. I was like all shaking and stuff like that on the video. You can see it. I was like bugging out, right? But that video was a different style of video. Most people, when they join courses, they have a success. They have a success story in like rapid times, right? Some people might just get lucky and do 7 days. Me, I'm not a lucky person. If I send a proposal, likelihood is that's not coming first. You know, I've had to grind for everything I achieve. So that took me 3 years to get to that spot. And it wasn't 3 years of hard work. And that's why I had to look at myself and think, you know what? I'm not working hard enough to become this person. And it took me a lot of mentoring and stuff like that. And it took me a lot of G-checking myself to be like, hold on a minute. What is, because I'll wrap it up in a sec, but I used to think, what is T Money doing? I used to think, who's this T Money guy? Okay. What's he doing, right?
And this is your ideal self. This is your future self.
Yeah. I had a coach, and me and the coach came up with a name. We called him T Money, right? And when I looked at it from this perspective, what is he doing? That's what changed. That's what made me think, for the past 3 years, I haven't been working every single day. I haven't been sending proposals. I haven't been living like an agency. I haven't been sending out emails. I haven't been doing YouTube videos and optimizing my profiles on Upwork and these type of things. What T Money would have been doing.
Yeah.
Right? Instead, I've been playing computer. I've been going out with my friends on the weekend. I've been on Instagram. I've been messaging these chicks, messaging that chicks. I'm in like a whirlwind of things that ain't making money. And it took me 3 years to figure that out. Mm-hmm. Right? But then, like you said, once you figure it out, things happen quickly. So my arc was different. It was like this. And for the first 3 years, I was just watching YouTube. You know, I'd be the guy with all these businesses that wasn't making money. I'd have an app doing penny stocks, but I've only done £10. I'd start trading. I've got £5 of Ethereum. You know what I mean? I'd be a trader, but I've only got £5 of Ethereum. But yeah, I'm giving everybody my advice. Yeah, I know nothing. You know, I get a lot of messages, people giving me advice. And I'm like, thank you, I'll take the advice, I'll listen, but maybe you should listen to yourself, you know, because if we're judging things about results, I've made more results than you, so I have a little bit more experience, right? Yeah. And that's the arc that I had to go through. So it took me 3 years. So during 2015, so when I'm 16 years of age and I'm watching YouTubers like Iman Gadget, he's also 16, but he's making millions. I'm looking at him thinking, what the hell?
Yeah.
I buy his course, I wouldn't use it, right? But then I'd complain that his course ain't good. Then I'd finally use it and then I'd make money and I'm on a YouTube video with him. So I'm feeling bad, like, hold on a minute, I've been bad mouthing this guy for how long? But when I figure it out, I'm like, I'm the one in the wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's happened like 3 times. So 3 of my friends, I used to bad mouth them on social media about their courses and their scammers. And then I'm looking at it back like, hold on a minute.
You wasn't using it properly.
I wasn't just using it, right? So that's why I don't mind when people get upset about me. So it took me 3 years to get to this point, right? And the only reason why I managed to get to that point was because I got a sale. So even you might not know this. When I went to Ibiza, just after you left actually, right? On Upwork, in my spare time or something, Nathan must have gave me like £100, right? He was like, here's £100, I was bare gassed, right? And then I ended up spending all the £100 on, so I think I went out the night out, it's blue, all right? So I'm like scratching around, I'm like, I can't ask Nathan for another £100, it's going to be mad. Right?
Yeah.
So I can't ask my mum, because she's already gave me like £20 the other day. So I'm like time's tough. So I applied on Upwork for a job, just for somebody to give me an Amazon review.
Okay.
So, for me to give him an Amazon review. I gave it him, he sent me £20 straight away. So I was like, hold on a minute. That took me 5 minutes. So I should just do 20 of these a day. But not doing 20 of these a day, I'm already thinking I'm rich in my head. So if we look at the facts here,
yeah.
I've made £20. But in my brain, I'm thinking I've made like $5,000. You know what I mean? So I've came downstairs to my mum, I'm like, Mum, I'm quitting uni. You know what I mean?
That £20 was it.
Yeah. So you know how that played out. It did not play out well, right? My mum came downstairs. She's like, go live with your dad. She wrote me a note. I've still got the note today. It keeps me motivated. It's like, go live with your dad. Stop slacking, basically. And it's like, go home. So she's kicked me out from my Ibiza, sent me home. But little does everybody know, and nobody knew this, but uni, I was getting like basically kicked out of uni because I didn't do no work at the time, right? And when uni sent me a message and they're like, look, basically you can't come back next year because I've repeated my second year twice. I'm now scratching my head. I'm like, I ain't trying to move back into my dad's. My dad's just came out of jail. He's got enough stress as it is. He's got 2 kids in the yard, and I'm definitely not being the third because I don't even want to be there. You know what I mean? So now I'm like, right, back's against the wall, and I didn't have no money. But what I did was I had an Amex, and one of my friends who I went to like a course and networking with, he was a mindset coach, and he was like, give me $2,000 and I'll sort out your mindset. But he was making bread. So instead of me thinking, right, I don't want to learn about mindset, I was like, you're making bread, so I'm going to pay you and I'm going to learn what you're teaching me and I'll make bread too. Done. You know what I mean?
That's it. End result.
Yeah, when your back's against the wall, that's how you got to do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about how much money am I getting in. I'm not bothered about what avenue it is. I'm not bothered about this, that, the other. I just know I need to pay my rent.
Yeah.
Right? So I get on the call with him and he's like, what's your goals? Tell him all these goals. He's like, okay, what's your plan? I'm like, this is my plan. He's like, bro, that's not a plan. Because I'm just telling he's like, what's your plan? I'm like, I'm going to start agency. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Da, da, da. He's like, bro, do you even understand how to do sales? Do you understand the process of sales? Do you understand the closing? Da, da, da. Or are you tracking your sales? Loads of information. But the main thing I took from it is he said to me, my 5-year goal is I can do it in 90 days. I just got to do it. Okay. So he said, you want to make 10 grand? I said, I want to do 10 grand in 5 years. First of all, I just want to pay my rent. Then I want to get my rest of my stuff and make 10 grand. You know what I mean? He said, no, forget all of that about that. Forget all about that. You're doing it in 90 days. So he said, right, here's your plans. Here's your schedule. Just do that. Right? And he said, every single week, I'm going to check up on you and we're going to do some role play on sales. Right?
Okay. And
I was like, cool. Gave me some other stuff to listen to, like manifestation and mindset. But I didn't just go, okay, and not do it. I took this stuff seriously. I went on my wall, I wrote my goals. Inside my wall, landlord must have been mad. I swear, it looked like I was in jail, right on my wall, yeah. I got, my whole wall was just post-it notes. Now I'll send you the video, we could play it over the video now, but the whole wall was post-it notes. I've printed out Ray Dalio. Ray Dalio is like a famous investor. He's got like psychological things that he follows and processes that he follows to keep him on the right track. Because he was an entrepreneur too. Yeah. And this is why books are so important. Because books is like other people have gone through their realizations, put it in a book that's this big, you read that, you save yourself 5 years.
Literally. You know for about £5.
For about £5. So I'd read it. I won't just read it because a lot of times if you read it, it doesn't go into your brain. And me, I have to physically do things over and over again to get in my brain, right? So I took this book, printed out the main things in the library at school. I haven't got a printer. I don't care. I'll go to uni, I'll print out a uni, right? Put this on my wall. And then I'll follow this process to the T. So every single day I've recorded what I'm doing. I've tracked it down. So I'm not just being like, okay, meditate. I'm being like, okay, meditate, tick it off my list. Okay, work out, tick it off my list. And eventually these habits that I would have just had as ideas have started to become real habits. I'm really doing it. And now when I'm having sales calls, I'm coming in with high energy. I'm following my script. I'm tracking whether it's closed. If I don't succeed, I'm not saying that the client didn't have enough money. I'm putting it straight into myself. My close wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
I'm not saying if he says, I've got to think about it. I'm not saying that the client, don't worry about it. The client said you've got to think about it. I'm saying I didn't handle the objection good enough. So I'm now going to go back, go through my list and see where he dropped off. And the next guy that says the same thing is not dropping off and closing on the call. And what happened is it took me 2 weeks and I was making 10 grand. 2 weeks I was making 10 grand. I called Tyrell. My cousin's in jail. I called him up. He was like, yo, what are you saying? I was showing him screenshots like, yo, cuz, check this out. Yo, I found this thing. It's like, it's your agency. He's like, what's the agency? I'm like, yo, don't worry, but check this out. He's in jail like this, sat down, bare fat, like, yo, what's this, fam? I'm showing him the screenshots like, yo, look, this guy just sent me 5 bags now. Watch this. Bow. And it was flying, yeah? And you know, I learned in that time from 10K to 30K per month. I realized that 10K per month should be the minimum that anybody should make because rent's 2 grand. Yep. When I actually started moving out, living by myself, once I finished uni, I was like, rotted. How would I have done this if I had a job? Like, I'm lucky because I've never been to that stage where I've had to have a job to fund my actual life. You know, I was at uni, so I was getting those things. You know, that's why I have to thank your parents for that type of stuff. You know, I was getting those uni grants, which makes life a lot easier.
Yeah.
But once I had to start genuinely paying like £1,200 a month, which is now like £1,500 a month where people are in the UK, I was like, how much? I struggled to do that with 10 grand. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? People think 10 grand is going to solve their problem, but when you sat there and you've just spent 2 grand on rent, you got 8 left and you're thinking, rotted, I've still got to pay employees. I've still got to buy new equipment for my YouTube channel.
God.
But yeah, I was like, I've still got to pay 2 grand for my rent and all that stuff there. And, you know, it got to the point where when I had a realization, I used to think to myself, why didn't I just start this sooner? You know, I could have skipped the whole headache of not having any money to pay for things. And I could have just got it out of the way.
This brings me on to a question that I actually wanted to ask because I wrote this down and this is a question that I really wanted to ask. What is one piece of advice that you would give yourself or, you know, back then or give someone now that will eliminate those years? Like, what's one piece of advice that you think, you know what, if I knew that then, it would have skipped the process? You
know what's crazy is that there's so much to do. There's so much that goes into it. And that's what's so mad is because I spent, like, throughout the whole of COVID, when I've gone through this time when, you know, no one's hollowing at me and these type of things, I spent a lot of time just solo vibes. Okay. You know? My mum's, obviously, we've fallen out, so we're all both being ignorant. I'm not messaging her, she's not messaging me. You know what I mean? My uncle's working, so I've got no money from that. All my cousins went jail, and my dad's doing his own thing. So I'm there, solo, no vibes, no bread. But people are just thinking out like, Tyrell's okay. You know what I mean? And I wasn't, I had no bread. So going through that time, I went through so many different realizations and followed and absorbed so much content from smart people, right? My YouTube wouldn't be like things that I'm interested in. It wouldn't even be it wouldn't be travel. It wouldn't be rugby. I used to watch loads of rugby videos. I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch anything entertaining. I just absorb content from like Jordan Peterson and, you know, all podcasts, right? I'd absorb content from them. Even like Alex Hormozy and these things. And every single time I'd listen to what they're saying, there'd be something that's wrong in my life. Every episode I'm like, rotted.
I need to do that.
Yeah. Like, raw. So that's why every time I do like videos or content and stuff like that, that's the stuff that needs to be done. You know, it's not like one thing. Because for each person, every person is different. Like one person might not have a routine. Another person might have a good routine, but they're just not doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. You know, another person might just purely lack discipline and just be purely just absorbing rubbish.
Yeah.
You know, so I would say every single time I speak to the camera, that's when I'm speaking to myself.
Okay.
You know? But if I would put it down to one thing, I'd just say and I only actually learned this recently, and this is what's been helping me make a lot more money, is every single day, all that matters is how much has came in and how much has came out. That's all that matters. You know, so I'm not caring about I'm the CEO of this. I don't care about I'm the managing director. I don't care about the title.
Yeah.
All that matters is how much have I made today, and that's it. Because I ain't no CEO. I can't put CEO in my bio if I'm not making a CEO salary. You know, that's the way I treat things. You know, I just put myself in the field.
I like that. That's amazing. That conversation was so powerful, and there were so many gems that people can take from it. And I think it's going to be one that people need to re-listen, re-watch, go back. Actually, you know what? That was a really good plan. So we'll wrap it up there. Plug in your socials for everyone to follow you.
Yeah, check out the social media. There's Janelle Ciara on Instagram. There's Broke the Matrix, my YouTube channel. And Instagram is the Crypto King. Check out the channels. You're going to see that we practice what we preach, consistency and discipline. You know, so listen to the advice now and make the most of it while the channels are small. Because once the channels get big, I'm going to do it Elon Musk. I ain't replying to no DMs. I ain't replying to nothing.
There ain't going to be no replies.
No,
There's no replies to get your information now.
Yeah, literally, genuinely, like, people think it's a joke, but I'm telling you, these things, like, they happen quickly. And, you know, you've definitely seen it. We're all around people who have a lot of success or make a lot of money. And they wasn't in that position a few years ago. And luckily, I've experienced it too. I know that I wasn't in that position a few years ago. So things like, people, a lot of time, they take it for granted that I'll take the time to respond to them was because I know what game I'm playing.
Yeah.
They think that I'm going to be here forever. You know, they think that I don't know why they think that. They just must take it for gratification. But the truth is that I'm not. I'm either going to just be on holiday or I'll still produce content, but I genuinely won't have to reply to anyone. I might have an AI reply to you. You know,
and that's for the part 2 episode.
And that's for part 2.
Where we talk about AI.
That's for part 2, guys. Make sure you stay tuned for next week. But thank you very much for having me on the podcast.
Always. Thank you very much. All right. That's a wrap.
Peace.